Alright guys, what's up? In this one we're going to be making the bullets, and the first thing we need to do is go to our updater. So actually we need to go up to updatable, the interface, and we need to say that it throws an IO exception, and this will make it easier to spawn bullets within our spaceship class. So then we need to import the package, so import java.io.io exception, just like that. And now we need to go to all of the objects and fix their update function. So inside of the spaceship class, I just go here and I say throws IO exception, just like that. And then I go to the background and I do the exact same thing. So throws IO exception, just like that. And now we're actually going to create the bullet class. So let me just go to file, new. This is going to be within the package called objects. And I'm going to save the file, and I'm going to save it as bullet.java. And now I'm going to import all the packages that we need, or all the classes. So first I need to get the updatable interface. I need to get the updater so that we can add ourselves to it. I need to get the renderable interface. I need to get the renderer so we can actually render ourselves to the screen. I need to get the window. I need to get the FPS class. I need to get the buffered image class, just like that. I need to get an IO exception. I need to get file. And the last thing I need to get is image IO, just like that. And again, our class is called bullet, and it's going to implement updatable and renderable. And now I'm going to create the variables that we're going to need for the class. We're going to need a private static double called width. I'm going to set that equal to 10, and a private static double height, which is also going to be equal to 10. I'm going to have a private double x, which are not going to be static, and a private double y. We're going to have to create a variable for the layer that we want the bullet to be on. So private final int layer, because our layer will never change. And the layer of the bullet is going to be 1. And we're going to change the layers of the background and the spaceship. So now I'm going to create the variable for the actual image itself. So private static buffered image. And we're going to call it spaceship. Oh, sorry, bullet. We're also going to have another private static double called speed. And that's going to be equal to 800. And now we're going to actually create the constructor. So public bullet. It's going to take in a double x and a double y, and it's going to throw an IO exception, just like that. And then we can just set this dot x equal to the x that's passed in minus get width divided by 2. And this comes into play when we actually want to spawn the bullet in the middle of our ship. So then we just set this dot y equal to y, and then we say bullet equals image io.read new file, and as you can see here, it's called bullet.png. So I say res/bullet.png, and then we're just going to add ourselves to the updater and the renderer. So renderer.add renderable object, we pass in this, and updater.add updatable object, this. And that's it for the constructor. So now we need to override all the methods that are defined within the updatable and the renderable interfaces. So I'm going to say add override public int get layer, and then here I just return layer, and then add override again. I spelled this wrong here, so it should be a capital O. So public double get x, and then here we'll obviously just return our x. Add override public double get y, and we're going to return our y, and then we need to return our width and our height. So public double get width, return the width, and then public double get height, return our height. And then we need a public buffered image called get buffered image, and this will return the bullet. And then finally, we need to do our update function. So public void update, and remember now we have to say throws IO exception, just like that. So I'm just going to say our y minus equals speed times fps.get delta time. So this will make sure our bullet always goes up on the screen, and then when the bullet gets above the top of the screen, we need to actually delete the object. So I say if y is less than negative get height, that assures that we're above the screen and they can't see us. I just say updater.remove updatable object, and then renderer.remove renderable object, and again I pass in this, and that's it for the update function. Now before we actually shoot the bullet with our spaceship, we're going to make another class called timer, which will be a timer, obviously. So I'm going to go to file, new, and this will be in the package core. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to save it as timer.java. And we need to import java.io.io exception. We need to import update.updatable. We need to import render, and we need to import update.updater, because we don't need to render the timer, but we do need to call it every single every frame. So the class is called timer, and it implements updatable, just like that. And we're going to have two variables. One is going to be called set millis time, that equal to 0. The other one's going to be called beginning millis time. And this variable is so that we can keep track of the original time the timer is set to. So now we create our constructor called timer, and we're going to pass in an integer called set millis time. And I say this dot beginning millis time equals set millis time. And then updater dot add updatable object, and we pass in this. And the reason I don't say set millis time equals set millis time is because I don't want the I want the player to be able to shoot immediately. So now I'm going to override the update method, public void update throws an IO exception, and set millis time minus equals fps dot get delta time, and we have to multiply it by 1000 because we want it to go back to milliseconds, and that'll give us more precision over our timer since we can set the milliseconds. And then I'm going to have another method that returns a boolean called is ringing, and if this method returns true, then the timer is done basically. So if set millis time is less than or equal to 0, return true, and then just return false. And then one more method called reset timer, and this is where you see this variable come into play. So we just say set millis time equals beginning millis time, and that's it for the timer class. Now let's go implement our spaceship class. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the layer to 2 because the bullet layer is at 1 and the background layer is at 0, and I want the bullet to be in between those two objects. And we're going to make some more variables here. So private static int shooting timer millis equals 500. So this allows us to shoot every 500 milliseconds, which is half a second. And then we're going to make a new timer called timer equal to new timer, and we're going to pass in our shoot timer millis just like that. Now we need to go to our update function, and if our input dot keys is input dot space, so over clicking the space button and our timer dot is ringing, then we spawn a new bullet at our x plus, we need to get our width and divide it by 2. So this will spawn the bullet at half of our width, right, which is half of our sprite. And then we just pass in our y position. And then if the timer is ringing, we need to reset the timer. So we just say timer dot reset, just like that. The one thing I forgot to do is to import the timer class. So we'll go up here and say import core.timer. I made some typos as well. This needs to be a capital E. And then also this should be reset timer, not just reset. And then in the bullet class, we need to multiply speed times fps.delta time. For some reason I did an ampersand symbol. And then the last thing we need to do is go to our updater, and our update function, the updater needs to throw an IO exception. So throws IO exception. Then obviously we need to import that. So import java.io.io exception. And so when I run it, you can see that the bullet spawns just fine, just like that. Anyway, that's it for this one. And the next one, I think we'll do enemies. But anyway, I'll see you next time.